you've got the next question on here of like, when does it become negative? I think one of the things that maybe older people see, because I've seen it, is again, we'll set on the shelf the people you're talking about who like have clinical issues that need help. A lot of times therapy very much I see it being used as a crutch kind of like people who don't want to put in the work, people who don't want to, I don't know, people who, to be just quite honest, can't really handle the real world, just whatever aspects of it are. Again, and I'm not trying to trivialize people who actually do have serious problems, but I think so many people who don't really have those serious problems that you're talking about are still, just sprinting towards therapy. And those are, I'm sure a lot of the older people are looking at going, you don't need therapy. You just need to like kind of get over it and actually work hard or whatever, whatever it is this Jack was talking about, get better sleep, stay off video games or whatever. And so that would be the thing. The only thing I would bring up here is I do feel like a lot of people can use it just kind of as a crutch, the mental health thing. I need a day off of work for my mental health, all these things, just because they don't want to get up and do stuff.
Well, a few things I'd say. First off, you have to define what is clinical and what is not, what's big and what's small. Some of the small things that you'd see actually open up to bigger when you dig down into it. I'm going to throw it back to old people, though. First off, for two reasons. First off, they've been anti-therapy for all the way back, and they had no reason. They didn't know it, and they didn't trust it. And
Sure.
so, for obvious reasons, in some cases, of course, Freudian psychology and such. At the same time, they're also a generation that, by and large, beat their kids and did a lot of traumatic stuff that was not good and had zero attachment with the kids.
By and large is a big accusation.
Okay, okay. I should say by and large, and I mean at significantly higher rates than what we see now. By and large means everybody. No, not everybody beating their kids, but like there was a.
Well, it was the first generation. They created of divorce, first generation of abortion.
Correct. I mean,
it's a total shift in with thinking of the family. Yeah.
Right. So their thoughts on mental health don't really necessarily come in on, well, they see these young kids that don't necessarily need it. The other thing I'll throw back on them is, you know what, maybe if you taught them how to do some of these things and live life, they would need to be in therapy. A lot of people are looking more for a parent in therapy, in my opinion, than they are for a therapist. But the therapist is a person who can help them, who can hold them accountable on getting out of bed, who can help them learn how to take healthy steps in eating right and things like that. They needed a dad. They needed a mom who's going to step in and say these things. And their parents too often are absent, gone, divorced, whatever it may be. The attachment's super poor. They can't go to their parents. That's one of the biggest issues when we talk about this thing. So is therapy a positive thing? By and large, I think it is. It can be a positive thing. Where does it go? And let me say this as well. Where it goes wrong, this is kind of the answer to it, which is therapy culture we've created. When you have so much information, I think this is what's difficult for people is how much was the average person in the 1800s aware of mental health? They didn't have anything pulling on them. They didn't have any social media. They didn't have any 401k. It's like you get up, it's a simple life. How much mental health problems could you have? I'm sure you had some, but like for the most part, that wasn't necessarily a thing. When you ramp up, we're experiencing a culture that has no concept of how to handle the 10,000 things coming at you every single day. And so I think that's also why we're unhealthy and why we're not happy, even in a therapy culture, is we're turning to therapists to try to fix the fuzz that is now rattling our brains that we've never really had in human history before. So I see why we would shift to it. The problem is we've created therapy culture.